Hello beautiful stars, welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny and I hope that you're doing well wherever you are in the world when you're watching this. I'm sending you some love, some blessings. We're experiencing a thunderstorm right now and it's quite intense. So I'm hoping that the power stays on to get through this. So I actually wanted to talk about something really interesting today. Does this interest you? What happens when you die? So I think that topic is right at the very beginning of that seeker phase in the spiritual awakening. We go through this seeker phase and we start researching things like law of attraction, near-death experiences, different realms. Like this information is always so juicy and so interesting. And today I want to talk about it from the aspect of having been through a near-death experience. I've had one of those, and I'll let you know about how that went and what that was like for me. And then now that my spiritual journey has deepened so greatly, I really had my first awakening experience at a fairly young age. And then followed that, it was probably 2008 when I really started deep diving into this information. Like I said, it was the beginning stages of that seeker phase, like law of attraction, near-death experiences, what kind of different realms are there, what kind of different beings, just went all in. And then in 2012, I had my Kundalini awakening, my first Kundalini experience, and so intense. And that changed me. I never went back to the same. My life, it completely changed everything for me. And that was in 2012, in December of 2012. So I know that a lot of people, that was a big time for a lot of the spiritual community with the Mayan calendar and all that. I definitely experienced a huge influx of energy. And my near-death experience was actually right before that in March of 2012. And then in December, I had the Kundalini awakening. So it's interesting how I feel like it was a pivotal moment for me as well. How could it not be, right? But I feel like there's something that remains with you after a near-death experience. And we'll talk about that. So yes, I want to talk about, from this new perspective now of all these years of spiritual awakening, spiritual truths, making that my priority. Learning, seeking, teaching, growing, healing. I've just been on this path for so long now. And as you go along the path, you come to new realizations. Things just click together in new ways. I feel, more clear and more powerful than I've ever been. And that will continue. I'll be able to say that again in the next 5 years. It's a never-ending journey. There's so much to learn. But I wanted to come back to the subject of what happens when you die, because I haven't really talked about this, I don't know, even ever on this channel. Maybe at the very beginning, but quite a while ago now. So I want to come back at it and kind of bring some new light to the subject. So before we get into it, I just want to remind you to please like this video. And then if you're not subscribed, please click subscribe now so that you don't forget, because I do brand new videos every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. And this community is growing and I'm so grateful for each one of you. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so what happens when you die? Let's start actually with the near-death experience that I had, because I just got so much pressure in my ear. Apparently spirit is ready for me to talk about this. Okay, so near-death experiences, if you've ever researched them, read about them, looked into them, you see a lot of similarities, a ton of similarities. It's stereotypical now, but it's true. It's all true. The tunnel and the light at the end, all of this, right? So for me, what happened was I was really sick and I thought I just had a cold. But it turned out that I had like a lung infection. Could have been like pneumonia or something. I don't know. I had a terrible cough, and I'm pretty resistant to go to the doctor. I don't know why. I have like a weird fear about it. I don't like it. So I never go. And so I didn't go, which led to this, this should be also a warning to, if something's wrong, go and get it checked out. But I didn't go. I thought it would just pass. And it lasted a couple of weeks, and I kept thinking that I was, getting better because I'd have good moments. But I wasn't, because an infection doesn't clear itself up, right? And so it was really bad. And I was even off work at this point because of it, sick, trying to get better. And so I spent the day off work by myself in my apartment on the couch, in and out of sleep, in and out of consciousness, actually. And I had taken some medication, like some cold medicine, I think. And I also had taken cough syrup with codeine. And I don't know if that is an influence in what happened. So I was, medicating myself and just laying around for days. And I had passed out on the couch, like on my back, face up. And then all of a sudden, I was up, like close to the ceiling. And I was really disoriented. I'm like, how did I get up here? Like, I can feel the ceiling behind me of the room. Like, I'm in the corner of the room at the top, still, just a little bit confused, but not too alarmed yet. And I'm like, that's weird. What am I doing up here? And I look across my living room and I see that there is these 3 figures, and they were all the same. And they were silhouettes of just black, because the light behind them was so bright that they were just like black. And they were like cookie cutters, like all 3 the exact same. These men, and it even looked like they were holding hands, making like a chain. So 3 very large black male silhouettes holding hands, like a gate in front of this light. And I saw them first, and I'm like, who are they? But then I saw the light behind them, like kind of far away, like that whole tunnel. And instantly, the second my eyes laid on that light, it's all I could focus on. I didn't care that I was like floating towards the ceiling. Didn't even question that for some reason. Like, it's very confusing when something like this happens. You do not realize that you are not in your body. Even though that seems totally crazy to you, how could I not realize it at this point? But you don't, because everything happens in the blink of an eye. It's so fast, you don't have time to process it. So, and by the way, you're still yourself, like totally yourself, your own normal consciousness with strange thoughts and feelings and all that. So I'm like, so I see these guys and I'm like, oh, and then I see the light, and it was like so mesmerizing. And all I wanted was to go to that light. And I went to go towards it, and in the loudest booming voice, all 3 silhouettes at once went, "No!" And it shook me. And I was like, why? Like, why can't I go there? Like, I don't understand. And they just, that's all they said. It like shook the room. It was like, no. And they continued to stand in front of this. And I was like, okay, like, how long are they going to stay? And then I had the weirdest thought, like, should I offer them some tea or something to drink? Like, so fucking weird. These are just the things that I remember, though, and it was so clear. And then, so I'm still in the same spot, and then I heard this really weird sound. I heard this, like, sound of, like, a dying animal. Like, like this awful, moaning, eerie, creepy sound. And I realized that it was me, my body on the couch, making these noises. So me, as the soul, like my truth, I had left the body, and the body was making these weird noises on its own without me in there, like suffering, right? As soon as I realized that the body was making noises, as soon as my attention turned to it, I was instantly back in it, back in the body. So now I'm back in the body and I feel like death. and I'm making these moaning sounds. And I heard my guide, Amy, say loud and clear, "Get up and go to bed." And I was like, no. And she's like, "Get up right now and go to bed. You need to get up." And she would not leave me alone. "Get up, Jenny. Go to bed." I'm like, I'm already sleeping. What do you mean I need to go to bed? So I listened because I know to listen. And I literally crawled. Like, I was so sick. Like, I fell onto the floor and I crawled across the floor, crawled up into my bed, and passed out face down this time, not face up. So I don't know if that was important. Passed out face down and woke up something like 12 hours later, like bewildered. Like, what was that? Did that even happen? Am I okay? Like, I was shook up because I knew as soon as I woke up, it was real, that had happened, and I had almost died, or did for a minute, and then came back or something. Like, I don't know. And there was no one that was allowing that. I was not allowed to go to the light. And then I was commanded, pestered, whatever, from Amy to get up and move, crawl, get into bed, and pass out face down. So I lived through it, obviously, but that was intense, right? And I don't think, like you're not the same after a near-death experience, because that experience of being outside of your body, it doesn't fade. You remember it so clearly. Like any trauma, it's like crystal clear. No. Go do something else. And I wonder too, if you change like energetically in any way, because I feel like my spiritual awakening really like heightened after that experience. And I don't know if it was just like because it shakes you up, because you've experienced being just the soul outside of the body, or because maybe because you see that light. Oh, I think that's it. If you lay your eyes upon, oh my God, sorry, I'm having a download right now. I think that's it though. Like, if you lay your eyes upon the pure light of source, and then continue like living beyond that, like continue to live knowing that, feeling that, how could you be the same, right? So, and my fear of dying completely disappeared. Everybody has a fear of dying until they don't. And it was gone after that. Like, why would I be afraid now, right? Like, I've seen that there's more. So there's nothing to be afraid of. And I also experienced that I was still me. So if you're worried at all about that, you'll still be yourself. So here's now what I want to talk about. So I hope that you could kind of like experience that with me as I explained it. If you've had a near-death experience, please share it. I want to see where the similarities lie. What do you think? Did you see the light with like outside of the body? Did you lay eyes on it? I guess the soul doesn't have eyes, but lay awareness on it, right? And how did that affect you? Because it greatly affected me. So now what I want to talk about is exit points. Do you know what an exit point is? So an exit point is a contracted agreement that your soul makes. So you know how we have these soul contracts before we come into the incarnation, and we decide on our main like relationships, our main hurdles, a lot of the big stuff, any big accidents, it's contracted. Like, it's decided because it's bringing you something that you need, a lesson, a vibration, a person, something, an opportunity. Exit points are contracted. They are. So like, I'm going to say 99% of the time, it's a high percentage. I don't know the percentage, obviously, but it is a high percentage. Most people's exit points are contracted. It's already decided, right? So you don't know in your awareness as the human, but your soul already knows. And there's usually 3. So, for instance, with my near-death experience, that would have been an exit point that I didn't choose to take, right? So if you were in a state that you were not growing, that you were suffering more than you were able to make any headway with your growth, and you just truly, like, you were miserable and you didn't want to continue, then you would set for yourself an exit point at this age, this age, this age, right? And mine arrived in this near-death experience and I didn't take it. It wasn't the right time for me, but there was that option there. Like maybe if I had really pushed, I would have been able to leave if I wanted to, but I must not have wanted to. And I certainly wasn't encouraged to, right? With that booming no, it was like a big no to me, like, oh, okay, that's not happening. So you've got these 3 exit points scattered throughout your life. Though I have heard actually that they can be close together, like one and then a few months later another, and then the next one would be like 50 years later. So it's up to you, but you already decided it. It's already kind of set in stone. So the exit points are going to be something like a sickness, an illness, a disease, an accident like a plane crash or car accident, something like that. Now, dying outside of an exit point would be so incredibly rare. So if it's like 99% contracted, then there is that possibility, that 1%. So let's try and think of an example of that. So dying outside of an exit point would be like a snap decision, like suicide. That's a possibility. A snap decision on someone else's part where they lose it, like a shooting maybe. So even in those cases though, I don't think suicide would ever be contracted, to be honest, because the soul is always going to put into its contract that it's going to grow through the lessons. And unfortunately, if it gets to be too much or too painful, and someone does choose to end it, that would be outside of an exit point to my understanding, okay? And usually like a very fairly sudden decision, because even though you may think about it, actually doing it would probably be a pretty sudden thing. So I don't know, like maybe something really sudden or shocking would be outside of an exit point, but most things, like even shootings, honestly, natural disasters, like they're all contracted in, where that group of people agreed to be a part of that experience. As awful as that might sound, it's all for a higher reason that maybe we can't understand, but that soul knows. There is an experience that they are going to gain from going through that they needed. That's going to balance out their karma. Maybe there's something that needs balancing there where they were on the other end of that. It's not that shocking. It happens, right? Like all of us have past lives where we're, the aggressor or like the victim. Like you have to balance out the energy in the end. That's what a karmic wheel is. And that would be why a really good reason to choose to incarnate, right? For karmic reasons. Now, starseeds on Earth right now, it's not really about the karma or light workers. If you saw the video that I did about your Earth mission or your Earth mission explained, that Earth mission video explains why starseeds and lightworkers are on Earth, what their purpose is, and how to get aligned to that. So it wouldn't really be karmic, but for somebody to choose to die in like a group setting through natural disaster or some kind of act of terrorism or something like that, that could be for them to balance something out. It could be probably for hundreds of reasons though. So I would never deign to try to explain something so delicate and you don't know why, right? That soul knows why. That group of people that died together, they know why, especially once they cross over. So let's talk about that. What happens, once you do cross over? Well, it's going to be instant, like blinking your eyes. Instant. So seamless and quick that you will be disoriented and actually not realize for at least a couple of minutes what's happened. And then as soon as you do realize what's happened, the tunnel will appear. And the tunnel will have a light at the end. And you're generally still alone at this point because you need to go through that channel. That's a channel between dimensions. And where you're headed is what people call heaven. I don't know what to call that. It's a very high dimension, right? Probably like an angelic dimension or maybe higher. But it is still a realm or a dimension because it's not going right back to source yet. Because if you were to actually rejoin source, you would be absorbed into it and not be like the individual soul aspect with a personality and like, separate in a way still. So for you to, and there wouldn't be, other people around, it would literally, when you rejoin source, which you can do in meditation, which is so beautiful, it is literally just light, bliss, love. You are that thing. You are a part of it. You're not a separate, like we are in our incarnations where we're separate from source. Even in higher dimensions, angels are still in an incarnation, which means a lifetime. So it has a span where it's going to have an ending. Maybe they don't have physical bodies, but they still have a light body, and they are still somewhat separate from source in an incarnation that has a purpose, lessons, some polarity, goal, like learning, right? It's an incarnation. It's not just being a part of source. So when you go through this tunnel of light, you're going to a very high place, heaven, I guess. And on the other side, when you come through on the other side, that's when you're going to be greeted by your angels and some of your guides probably, and then even maybe some friends and family to meet you there and to greet you on the other side. They're going to stay with you and help you to adjust and welcome you back home. But keep in mind that a lot of your family that have passed on before you or friends are likely in incarnations and are very busy, right? So they may not be able to hang out too long, but I am certain that their souls would welcome you there and settle you in. And then at that point, you're going to be with a guide, at least one angel that stays with you. And the next thing that comes up is your life review. So it would happen pretty quickly, like after being welcomed and kind of realizing what's happened and accepting the fact that you've died. And then this life review would follow. And this is where you review your life, exactly like what it sounds like. And it would be like a holographic projection where you would rewatch your life. Now, what is time, right? So it's not as if you're going to be sitting there for however long, however many years you were on Earth, 80 years watching it. It's not real time, but you're going to watch the important parts, the parts that stand out and the parts that made a difference. And you're going to be really, really surprised by what you find. Because we impact people when we don't realize that we are, and that ripples into someone else, and gets bigger and bigger. We don't realize how powerful we are. And so we are impacting people, changing them, helping, like they make different choices because of it, and now this happened and this happened. Like it's all like this spider web ripple effect. So you're going to see those important things, and you're going to see the growth that you accomplished and the lessons that you locked in. And you might see stuff that you're not proud of, right? So I want you to know that the only judgment that you will receive is from yourself. There's no one up there judging souls. I promise. I know it. You will be judging you. And outside of your human mind and ego, back into your purest soul form, you're going to remember your soul contracts, and you're going to know what you hoped to achieve, your highest timeline, to become the highest version of yourself that you could in that life. You're going to know what you wanted to do, and then you're going to probably like compare that to what you accomplished. There will be good. There will be so much good in there. And then there might be little things that you want to work on again. So there's no real reason for judgment because we're always doing the best that we can with what we have at the time. Like we don't always have the information, the growth, the expansion needed. We did the best we could, right? That's why no one's going to judge you. The only person ever that judges us is ourselves. That's true here on earth, isn't it? We're our hardest critics always. So hopefully you won't be hard on yourself. And I know that there will be angels and guides with you, helping you not to be, really encouraging you and showing you all the good that you did. And they're going to be so proud of you. Your team, your specific team, your angels and your guides that are like assigned to you. And you'll have an angel that's assigned to you in this afterlife heaven experience as well as your guide while you're there. And they are so compassionate and so loving, especially when they've also lived a life on earth, like someone like Jesus who knows how hard it is, right? So they're going to really help you to love yourself through this whole experience because they are not judging you. They are so grateful to have you back and so proud of everything that you accomplished. And so hopefully that's going to rub off on you and you're going to absorb that feeling too. After your life review, you would be ushered into a council meeting with a Q&A where they want to gain from you what your experience was like. It really helps them to hear in your words or in your frequency and your energy, like, what did that feel like? Well, what happened here and what were you thinking? And it actually helps them to grow too because they learn through us. And that is true even now, like when I have meetings with the Galactic Federation of Light or with my own personal councils. They do ask a lot about what's it like on Earth and what was this like, and they're gaining information through you, right? So you're going to have like a council meeting with a personal council of yours, the people that helped you to create the soul contracts in the first place. So people that know you very, very well and are very close with you. And they'll have lots of questions and lots of answers for you, and you'll have just like a really good meeting. And then after that, you would be going towards healing chambers. So there will be the trauma from dying, plus possibly other things that need healing before you can continue on to, your next phase, whatever you choose. And we'll talk about that in a second, what your choices could be like. But before that, you need to heal. You need to come back into your pure soul self. And so you would be going into healing chambers. What that technology is like, I don't know. It could be crystal, it could be the angels, but it's going to be something that heals your frequency and puts you back together to a whole being again, a whole soul again. So you're not fractured in any way through the pain and the hurt and the dying itself. After the healing chambers, there's a few things that you do. One of them being really lovely, which would be catching up with your soul family. So we all have like a soul group, a soul family that we incarnate with over and over. It could be quite large, and it can change. It's not always the exact same. Like some people, grow and move on, and some people, but there is always a soul group or a soul family that you are a part of. And these are your closest souls. So like your twin flame, your family, your closest friends, all of that you continue to incarnate with, like your parents, your siblings, your best friends, the relationships you've had. All of that is your soul group. Those are all the people that are in your soul contracts to meet up with you and teach each other things. Even like a favorite teacher, right? That's a meaningful connection. That's a soul group. Just so many examples. Even when a relationship ends badly, like if it's dramatic ending or something like that, it's still your soul group. That person still agreed with you before you came to Earth to teach each other these lessons, and you have the free will to have whatever outcome you choose. But here's the lessons I'll be bringing to the table. Here's the lessons you'll be bringing to the table, and let's see what happens. Let's see if we can teach each other something more than what we arrived with, and generally those interactions will teach you. So it's all beautiful once you go back over to the other side, because there's no good or bad or judgment. It's all like, wow, thank you so much for being that for me, for offering me that frequency that I didn't have available to learn from, right? So after you kind of catch up with your soul group, you would have some more council meetings of integration. So you'd need to, you've done your healing, and you caught up and you've seen your life review. Now let's integrate. Let's really go over how you're different. From before the life on earth to now, how are you different? Where have you grown? Where have you deepened? What's been added on to your soul? What frequencies are new? You're going to be different in probably a lot of ways. So you're going to like learn how to integrate all of that into your soul and really become strong. And then after that integration period, you would then be deciding what you want to do next, right? So you can choose another incarnation. Doesn't have to be on Earth. Gosh, there's like unlimited, literally unlimited beings that you could be. So cool. And again, like it's so cool. Like I'm just so grateful that I get to see any of that, like on the scope that I do through doing the readings that I do for you guys. And like seeing people like being crystal dragons, like, wow, you chose that. Like that's such a cool life. Or Avalon, like my personal favorite, the elemental realm of Avalon, where there's the unicorns and the fae and wizards and dragons again, maybe not the crystal ones, but yeah, like so many kinds of beings. We only know of such a small few here on Earth. Like we're like, oh, well, I know Arcturians and Syrians and Lyrans and Pleiadians and, you know, all this beautiful. Okay, but there's literally like millions and billions of different ones because the universe is just constantly expanding and we can't understand the scope of it. So there are beings that from like in every kind of, any possibility is a possibility, right? That's the universe. So it's probably going to be really fun and exciting to choose your next lifetime. Maybe you'll choose a favorite and go back somewhere. Maybe you'll choose something new. Or maybe you'll choose to be someone's guide. Maybe you'll choose to be someone's like a spirit guide or an angel guide and help another one of your, probably from your soul group through their incarnation. And you kind of remain back to be the guide for them, right? So, and beyond that, who even knows the kind of options? Unlimited. If you're not choosing to be in an incarnation as all these different kinds of billions of beings that you could potentially be, or a guide for someone, there are all these other options that I wouldn't even know what they are. Like I have no idea. A council member, Galactic Federation of Light, those are all incarnations too, though. There's more. Like there's so many layers. And this is why we've had so many like lifetimes. So many. Some of us like thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, more maybe. Because the opportunities are endless. The potential is endless. And that's so cool. The learning never stops. The new experiences never stop. And you choose. Nobody tells you where you have to go. You'll never be forced. You're choosing. Because no one's judging you, remember. It's not like they say in these harsh religions where you're judged and sent somewhere and you have fear. No, not true. Not true. You'll go to a place that matches the new frequency that you've become, likely, right? Or a place that will help you to grow even further. But it's always up to you. So the really special incarnations are when you are aware of all of this. Awakened. That's why a near-death experience is so special. Because you've experienced yourself as the soul without the physical identity and body. So, like we all are, and growing even stronger in our awakened consciousness, that is a very special incarnation and doesn't always happen, right? Like a lot of the times you're just fully in the incarnation as that role, as that character. And here we are playing both sides of the field, right? Knowing that we are these infinite eternal souls with all these lifetimes and access to that information, and yet still living these human lives. Like I have dishes to do. What? Like that's so crazy. It's so cool. We are so multidimensional. Just everything is a blessing to me, even those damn dishes. Like, oh, I'm so blessed. I'm just so grateful that we are all on this journey together, like brothers and sisters, all here and all awakened. What kind of force is that? We will absolutely complete our mission of balancing out the collective consciousness of humanity. Here we come. We're going to balance you out. You know, if the average of the collective consciousness is still sitting at fear, well, we are going to bring it up a couple notches to neutral. And then once you stabilize there, we are going to bring it back up again to maybe acceptance. And here we go again. And every time it gets pulled back down through like world events, mainstream media pumping fear in, we're never going to stop. We're tireless. And more are arriving every day. Like, you are not alone on this mission. Have fun. Live the human part. Embrace the soul part. Find a way to be both. The divine human. That's something new, especially on Earth. It's the evolution of humanity, and it starts with you. So have compassion for every soul, whether or not they are your brother or sister in the light, for every soul, because we are all at very different phases and different parts on our path and our journey. And remember, everyone is doing the best that they can, honestly. Nobody wants to be a jerk. Nobody wants to hurt others. Everybody wants to be like revered and respected and, like a saint. Everybody wants that. Deep down they do. They want the respect and love of everyone. They want to be successful, abundant, looked up to. So everyone's doing the best they can, because that is the general yearning of every soul, is to do their best. So have compassion, have love, and stay in your awakened state. Really protect that by maintaining it and staying consistent in your routines. Very important, your daily spiritual routines. So anyway, I've gone on about this probably way too long. Such a cool topic. What do you think? Oh my God, I can't wait to see the comments for this video. They're always good, but this is beyond cool. Especially I want to hear like if you've had a near-death experience. I'm really, really interested in comparing what it felt like for you to mine. I haven't really, other than like reading other people's stories, I haven't really been able to interact on that level, because I don't think I have anyone that I know that's had that happen in my personal, like, close circle. So please share if you're comfortable. Please share. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. And I just want to remind you that, as usual, I will put my personal link in the description so you can find me. Come find me on Instagram. There's a lot of platforms in my link right now because I'm being so heavily censored. And I think I've pretty much lost my Facebook page at this point. It is what it is. That wasn't like a great vibration anyway. Facebook is different, right? Instagram, I'm still there, but I've had some weird, being locked out of my account moments. So I took the opportunity to start a Telegram channel. So you can find that. And then there's a couple other ones that people were telling me were going to take off, like MeWe and Gab.com, I think. So I don't have a lot going on there. I just wanted to have that space reserved as Starseed Academy in case that's where we go. So if most of us just get kicked off of Instagram, we need somewhere to go. So I'm kind of just starting a few other little nests. And so feel free, if you're on any of those platforms, please come and follow me. You'll see the link easily so that you can just click it and join in to whatever platform that you're on. And then also in that link, remember that if you want to check out your past lives or meet your spirit guides and get some messages, or both, I do readings. And then I also have really powerful healing sessions available. So check out my services if that calls to you. If you resonate with my energy, then I can probably help you in whatever way that you're looking for. So I'd be more than happy, honored to support you on your path. So, and thank you all for supporting me, because I feel so blessed. I had this week, I don't know when this is going to air, but just in general, this week I was fully booked. for the entire week before the week even began. Like, you know, as the weekend was coming to a close, my whole week was already booked. And that was such a great feeling. So, and then more people, you know, starting to message me and looking for spots for the week after. So it's like, it's growing, and I'm very, very grateful for all of you. I'm so blessed to be able to do the work that I do. And thank you so much, truly from the bottom of my heart. I'll keep showing up in this way, which is like very honest, very real, and very authentic, and also very vulnerable, right? Like just being myself and putting it out there like this can be pretty vulnerable. So I'm just grateful for all of you that support me in all the ways that you do, through your comments, your likes, your shares, and your messages. So thank you so much. I love you. Before I go, I just want to remind you, say it with me. Listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you're in. Have a great day. Bye.